Welcome to the Institute of Jewish Knowledge and Learning. We are with Rabbi Akiva Mann, the program Tisha B'Av. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Take it away, Rebbe.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me in the Holy City. Friends, Tisha B'Av is strange. To institute a national day of mourning, that a national Memorial Day, but it's a Memorial Day, but it's a little bit more. It's a little bit different than Memorial Day, because Memorial Day is just by mere definition. Memorial Day is when we memorialize. And I want you to think about the difference between memorializing and mourning, and Tisha B'Av as not only as a day of memorializing, but it is a day of mourning. And a day of mourning assumes that if a family mourns a loss of a loved one, when the family is in mourning together, sitting Shiva together, there is an assumption that the family who is in mourning has this impeccable common feeling going through their hearts, right? When we visit a house of mourning and people that are in a state of mourning, we automatically assume that the children and the spouse and anyone in the immediate circle of mourning share this like unbelievable common grief. With Tisha B'Av, when we're talking about a day of national mourning, we have to ask ourselves the question: we who are commemorating this day of mourning, are we all sharing that same sense of grief and loss? And the question is, what is that common sense of loss? What is it? What are we mourning for? What are we in mourning for? So that's a question that I want us to kind of be thinking about throughout this entire teaching, and to find a place in our heart that has a response to that question. Exactly what is that common sense of mourning that is being commemorated on Tisha B'Av, because I can tell you, like, a crazy phenomenon here in Israel, that from your secular taxi driver to your to all the entire spectrum of Jewish society, nearly all, but from the secular to the religious, from the modern to the ultra, that kind of commonality is felt here. The secular Israeli Jew is involved in the consciousness of Tisha B'Av, which probably is not true in any other place than Israel. So to begin with, friends, so have that, maybe at the end, if you have, throughout the teaching, if you've come up with a gem that you can share, maybe Kim will remind me, 10 minutes before the end. Maybe it's really worthwhile sharing, because to find that commonality would be a great mitzvah, would be a great mitzvah, would be a great spark of light. But meanwhile, I just want to begin the teaching today with a few verses from Eicha, from the book of Lamentations, that reviews the great tragedy of really the first temple. The author is said to be Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah, and just the notes themselves, the cantillations that has come to us, transmitted to us from way back, kind of reflects the mood of the day. And I want to bring to your attention that the third word. I want to bring to your attention Eicha Yashva Badad means how has our city ended up in such loneliness, so alone. And when we read these words last night at Eicha, I was reminded about the word lonely, badad. Badad is a beautiful and strange word. Badad means lonely, but there is a derivative of that Hebrew word badad in mystical Hebrew and in modern Hebrew. Badad means lonely, but hit bodedut is meditation.
Oh, interesting.
Is meditation. So the word badad has its negative connotations, because, friends, to be a lonely city, to be a lonely people, to be a, we are called Am Levadad Yishkon in the Torah. We are a people who dwells alone. And what that means is good for a whole other lecture. What does it mean that we are a nation that dwells alone? So the word alone and lonely is packed full of different meanings and different contexts. But it certainly in this context it is not good for a city that used to be a city of hustle and bustle and a city of excitement and vibrancy, that after tragedy sits alone. And I want us to think of not only cities that sit alone, but I want us to think of people that are around us in your community, people in every community, people that are next door neighbors that are alone and that need help and need support and need a good word and need a good smile from us. Okay, let's begin a little bit.
Judith will be reading following your Hebrew.
Okay. I'm trying to determine whether I can see my book better or see the Zoom better. Okay, good. Echa yashva vadad ha'ir Rabatiyam Haita ki almana Rabati bagayim sariti bamdinot Haita lahamas.
Alas, lonely sits the city, once great with people. She that was great among nations is become like a widow. The princess among states is become a thrall.
Bachotiv kebalayla Vidimata alachaya Ein la menachem mikol ohaveha Kol re'eha bagduva Hayula le'oivim.
Bitterly she weeps in the night, her cheeks wet with tears. There is none to comfort her. Of all her friends, all her allies have betrayed her. They have become her foes.
Galta Yehuda me'oni umerov avoda Hi yashva bagoyim lo matza manoach kol rodfeha hisiguha ben hametzarim.
Judah has gone into exile because of misery and harsh oppression. When she settled among the nations, she found no rest. All her pursuers overtook her in the narrow places.
Okay, Kim, the second. Okay, friends, for this, thank you for that beautiful reading. But for this, I'm just going to ask you to. This is not going to be the cantillation, the trup for the thing. It's this is an old ancient song whose words come from Eicha. This is the last few verses of the book of Eicha. So we did a little from the beginning and a little the end, but this is a little more of a song. Just concentrate on the Hebrew and the English as we go by. Al ze haya daver libeinu al ele chashku eineinu al har Tzion sheshamen shualim hilchuvam al har Tzion sheshamen shualim hilchuvam al ze haya daver libeinu al eleh chashku eineinu al har Tzion sheshamen shualim hilchuvam al har Tzion sheshamen shualim hilchuvam Ata Hashem le'olam teshem Kisacha ledor vador lama lanetzach tishkachenu Tazbeinu le'orech yamim Da-da-da-da Hashivei Hashem Elecha Hashivenu Hashem Okay, friends. Bottom line, we have to be able to find strength in the phenomenon of Tisha B'Av. It's not for now, but Rav Soloveitchik so beautifully in one of his essays describes the entire phenomenon of the Jewish traditions and practices around mourning, around the laws of mourning, the directives of how does a Jew mourn, Shiva, Shleishim, and all the traditions that embellish the code, the Jewish code of mourning. He describes it so beautifully that all of it, again, this is deserving of another teaching, that all of it points to gaining strength from the traditions of mourning. All the laws of mourning, all the directives of mourning have to do with techniques for the mourner to gain strength to leap out of mourning into normal life, and to go into normal life with a sense of strength, not with a strength of weakness. So somehow we have to find in Tisha B'Av, in the phenomenon of Tisha B'Av, some semblance of strength. And I want to point out that in our tradition, we have two types of prophets. We have two types of prophets. We have prophets of doom. Prophets of doom. That's where the expression comes from. It comes from our scriptures. We have prophets of doom, and then we have the supreme prophets of hope. The prophets of doom were the ones, were the wise ones who cautioned us and who warned us that if you as individuals or you as a society, in whatever society, we're talking about societies long ago, but we have had, prophets, we have had these prophets along the way. And they were prophets of doom were really prophets not of doom. They were prophets of reality. If you as individuals or societies are going to continue in this way, in this manner, perpetuating societies and cultures as you are, you will not last. Right in your face. You will not last. You will be doomed. You will be dooming yourselves. It was not negativity for the sake of negativity. It was a warning, a cautionary warning. If you continue like this, you are doomed. The prophets of doom were speaking to the people and saying, you are ungodly people. God is not proud of you. God is not proud of you. Change your ways. And they were right in your face. Jeremiah went to the extent, imagine like Jeremiah and you being Jeremiah's audience, like 2,500 years ago. We are Jeremiah's audience. And the prophet Yirmiyahu is saying to us, the more you pray to God, the less he will listen. The more you pray, the less he is listening. That's actually what the prophet Jeremiah told the people. That's how desperate he was to bring awareness to the people's consciousness. The more you sacrifice to God, the more he abhors your sacrifices. In Eicha, in Lamentations, Jeremiah, the prophet of doom, says to the people of Jerusalem at the time of the destruction of the first temple. And he tells the people again, face to face, how have you become like prostitutes to your God? And then we have these same prophets, the prophets of doom, that are speaking very harsh language because they feel the people are in emergency mode, and speak about hope, and speak the words Ki mitzion tetzei Torah udvar Hashem Yerushalayim. The true essence of the Torah will one day come forth from Zion. Udvar Hashem Yerushalayim, and from Jerusalem will come the true essence of the word, of the divine word. One day you will be representatives of the word of God. And those same prophets of doom authored that one day the world, ki mala haaretz deya et Hashem, one day you will transform yourselves into a people, into a world that will be full of the knowledge of God. And in that age, your old and rusty swords used for death and used for destruction will become plowshares. You will till the earth with your tools of murder. And these prophets of doom that also were able to be prophets of hope, they announced a new age. And they said to the people, you are not stuck. You are not stuck. Do not think that you are forever, lama la netzach. You are not forever in the same situation. There can be change. There is possibility for transformation. Because, friends, our prophets instilled in us that, in Reb Nachman's language, yesh tikva, whatever situation we are in as a society, as a culture, and also as individuals, yesh tikva, there is something called tikva, hope. And hope leads to an opening. All we need is a little opening, a little inspiration, and a little light dispels much darkness. So the ancient prophet said, always leave, even in the midst of destruction, even in the midst of hopelessness, there is hope. And time is our narrative for hope. The prophets, our prophets of hope, are so essential. That's why our prophets of hope, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, all of them, even if we read their prophecies as fantasies, Umala haaretz deya et Hashem, 3,000 years ago they're telling us, and we haven't even got there yet. In 2022, we have not seen those prophecies yet fulfilled. We're still waiting. But the prophet 3,000 years ago that can say, whatever circumstance is going on, there will come a day, Bayom Hahu, There will come a day, ki mala haaretz deya et Hashem, that there will come a day when there will be a universal consciousness where humanity is going to realize and be aware of God knowledge, where everyone will be filled with God knowledge as the waters cover the oceans. Now that leaves room for hope. Now that leaves room for hope. What the prophets of old were saying to their generation and to our generation is what is lost, what you think is lost, can be regained. What can be destroyed, and there was a lot of destruction over the course of history, what can be destroyed will be rebuilt. What disappears will one day return. The prophets of old, in summary, are asking every single generation, and that's why Jews have been enamored with the prophets. Christianity, our scriptural Nevi'im, the book of Nevi'im, the book of our prophets, is the core of Christian scriptures. Because they taught generations of people basically to see beyond the horizons of your own history. They taught us to think big. Get out of your little simple egos. Get out of your little egocentric cultures. And think big. You all know the story of the original Talmudic Rabbi Akiva, who physically lived in the time and lived through the destruction of the Holy Temple, the Second Temple. He lived through temple times when temple times and the sovereignty and safety of Jerusalem was like fantastic, and went through the whole the decades. Rabbi Akiva lived to a very long age. He was 120 when he passed away. One of those. When we say you should live till 120, the original Rabbi Akiva lived to 120. So he lived through a glorious period when the Second Temple was up and running, and the sovereignty of Israel was like in no question, and actually lived his life as Jerusalem got invaded little by little by little. It took decades, but he lived through it, lived through the absolute destruction of the temple, which also meant, the destruction of the temple also meant the absolute disembodiment of the Jewish people. They were exiled out of Israel. It took a little while till it was complete, but they were exiled. The sovereignty of Israel, the ownership of Israel went into other hands. And you all remember the Talmudic story that Rabbi Akiva is in the temple ruins. And everyone is in mourning. And Rabbi Akiva says, Rabbi Akiva is laughing, and his students and everyone around says, Rabbi Akiva, how can you be laughing? And Rabbi Akiva answers, basically, he says, there are, as I just said, there are prophets of doom. And the prophets of doom prophesied this was going to happen. They were warning us for years this was going to happen. But those same prophets of doom also gave us prophecies of hope. So as the prophecy of doom came to fruition, so I am laughing now, because I am in the ruins of Jerusalem, and as that prophecy came true from the prophets of doom, the words of the prophets of hope are also going to come true. And that's why I'm laughing. That's why I'm able to laugh. And beautifully enough, I read something recently that Jonathan Sacks wrote, and he says that when he was in 1967, remember 1967? In 67, Jerusalem, in 48, Israel was redeemed. In 67, Jerusalem was redeemed. And in 67, Jonathan Sacks says that he was on Mount Scopus. And he, Mount Scopus is looking down on the old city. And he says after 67, he was looking down on the old city, and he asked himself a question, because this Talmudic story about Rabbi Akiva came to his mind. And he asked himself a pretty very interesting question. He asked himself, he was asking Rabbi Akiva, the old Rabbi Akiva, the question, if Rabbi Akiva would know that it would take 2,000 years, 2,500 years, for his statement that he made then, that the ruins of Jerusalem were prophesied, therefore the redemption of Jerusalem is going to come true. If Rabbi Akiva knew that his laughter was only going to be fulfilled in 2,500 years, would he have still laughed at that time? And the answer, my friends, and the answer, my friends, of course, he would have laughed. Of course he would have laughed. Because it doesn't matter how long. It means to be a Jew, to be a thinking Jew, to be a visionary Jew, is to never give up hope. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take. Friends, for 26 centuries, without a single pause, we as a people did the same as Rabbi Akiva. Because for 2,600 years, on our lips, which never left our lips, was Im eshkachech Yerushalayim, if I forget thee, Jerusalem, tishkach yamini, I'll forget my right hand. I'll forget how to walk. I'll forget how to drive. If I forget thee, O Jerusalem. We are a people of hope. How long it takes for the hope to be fulfilled, to evolve, to morph, doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if you were in the crematoria of Auschwitz. And with your last breath, saying, Im eshkachech Yerushalayim tishkach yamini. Because hope is hope. Hope is beyond time. Hope is timeless. And the amazing thing is, friends, that yes, it took 26 centuries for Rabbi Akiva's prophecy and Rabbi Akiva's laughter to actually become a reality and to become fulfilled. And the amazing thing is that we are the generation to see it. We are the generation that 26 centuries of generations of Jews. We are the ones that were able, in reality, to peek into, to live through a history. We are them. And if you are not amazed that you are living through this, then 2,600 years from today, your great grandchildren will say about you, wow, imagine that generation that mamash lived after 2,600 years, who were able, imagine that first generation that saw it. Imagine what those people were like. That's us. In 2,000 years, people are going to be amazed at us. And we're not amazed at ourselves. Okay, friends, time for a little song. First, any comments? And anything.
Excuse me, this is Joyce, and I'm sorry I'm not showing myself, but those of us who were at Rabbi Uri's Eicha Thursday night, he had a beautiful story that follows what your teaching is for us, Rabbi Akiva. He was saying that Bibi Netanyahu was meeting with Chinese and Indian leaders, and they were extolling and patting themselves on the back because of the long endurance and existence of their civilizations. And Bibi said, "How many are you?" And it was in the billions, all of them. And Bibi's reply was, but we are 13 million only.
Thank you, Joyce.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, Jill, did you have a question?
Yeah. Transformation and hope. Is it transformation, hope as a Jewish people, or transformation and hope as individuals?
Both.
And
Both.
Micheline.
We have proven it. We have proven it as a people. Sometimes it's up to us to prove it as individuals. Our history tells us that we are a people of hope. No doubt. And as individuals, we have to play it out and prove it to ourselves.
Okay. Now, Micheline, and then Shash and Moshe.
Every single time when I hear the readings for this holiday, this memorial, all I can think of, possibly because of my history, but our shared history, is the people during the Holocaust in the camps reciting this and how they must have felt repeating these words in the times and the situation that they lived in. And then, those who were fortunate enough to go to Israel afterwards and see and fight for Israel and see what was happening, is kind of also the gamut of what you were talking about.
Yeah. Thank you, Micheline. We have to, Micheline, you remind me. We have to try our best to extricate ourselves from our local scene and and we have to start stretching our imaginations historically, really stretching ourselves and just taking ourselves out of our localized situations and think in broader terms and expand our historical horizons and then view ourselves in a different way. We really have to expand ourselves. We get too stuck in our own situations,
Thank you. And the last comment before we go back to, I see you hold your guitar, so we're all excited. Shosh and Mosh. Please.
Shosh and Mosh, how great.
It's Phyllis and Michael, but in these kinds of circles, we often go by our Hebrew names. So Shosh and Mosh.
Great.
So I'm interested in how this rich tradition of 26, centuries of hope for Jerusalem, how does that translate to the current status of Jerusalem with respect to the Palestinian issue?
Great. Moshe, if I'm looking at the time, if I am leading up to that, I am leading up to something. I am leading up. I don't want to leave this in the hands of the ancients. But I'm starting like in the beginning. Okay. But thank you. I
Back to you, Rebbe.
Okay. So the verse goes, Im eshkachech Yerushalayim, if I forget thee, O Jerusalem, tishkach yamini. I might as well forget my right hand. I might as well forget like everything I do with my right hand, which is everything. Imlo ala al rosh simchati. If I do not place you, O Jerusalem, this is so beautiful. Al rosh simchati, at the head of all of my simcha imaginations. So King David is saying, make a list of all of your simcha fantasies. And never forget, whatever your list is, and this goes a little bit to Moshe's question. Whatever your fantasy simcha list is, whatever your happy list is, King David says, I have made that list, and whatever my list is, I have put Jerusalem always at the top of the list. The welfare of Jerusalem at the top of my list. That makes Jerusalem pretty important. And that's why Moshe is asking, so how important is it today? Okay. Hopefully we'll get to it, if not next year. Please sing with me a little bit. Allah אם אשכח את ירושלים, תשכח, תשכח, תשכח ימיני, אם אשכח את ירושלים, תשכח, תשכח, תשכח ימיני. אם לא אעלה ירושלים, ארוז שמחתי. אם לא אעלה ירושלים, על ראש שמחתי. Okay. Kim, how much time do I have left?
11 minutes.
Oh gosh, Moshe, maybe next year, but we're gonna maybe you'll extract something. Okay, friends, this is really like a separate kind of consciousness for Tisha B'Av. Before benching, every benching, every Birchat Hamazon, every grace after meals, on Shabbos and on Yom Tov, we sing Shir Hamalot. One of the lines in Shir Hamalot goes like this: Hazorim bedima, berina yiktzoru. Kim, maybe we can put up that third, just so everyone. The third one, yeah, that's it. Okay, friends, if everyone can see, Hazorim bedima, berina yiktzoru. It comes from, of course, the Psalms. Those who sow with tears will reap with joy. I want us to memorize that. Though Hazorim bedima, those who sow with tears will reap with joy. Okay, let me have the faces back. If we had a little more time, I would ask at this point. I would ask some of you to help interpret that. What does that mean? Those who sow with tears are going to eventually harvest with joy. Since we don't have time, I'm just gonna go ahead. Friends, I want us to realize one thing, and it's an important Tisha B'Av teaching. These 4 words are based on the idea that that is mentioned in the Talmud in three beautiful words. And since the Talmud is so succinct, I'm just going to quote the Talmud. Adam le'amal yulad. Adam le'amal yulad. Man, that means human, every human being, le'amal yulad, was every human being was created, was destined for le'amal, for hard work. The Talmud reminds us that not only the destiny of every human being, but the original motive for in the Talmud's mind for God creating humanity was for work. Again, I would ask you, if we had time, what do you think that means? But I'm going to answer it just head on. Friends, the Talmud is teaching us a very sobering. If you thought anything different, this is the time to rethink. We were not brought into this world for leisure. We were not brought into the world in the Godhead's original motivation. We were not brought here to join the yacht club. We were not brought here to live on an 18-hole golf course. That was not the motivation. That was not the purpose. That was not the dream. Rather, the Talmud is very, very sobering. We were born here to labor, for labor. What type of labor we will get to. But we were born here to work. We were born in labor, literally in our mother's labor. We were born in labor and we were born for labor. We were born to Hazorim Bedima. We were born here to sow seeds. We were born here to expend blood, sweat, and tears. Life was meant to be challenging, to be hard, to sometimes be overbearing, and sometimes even excruciating. And yes, we don't always set our conditions, and we don't always have our choices. But we were meant here to be challenged. And for those of you that have been in other classes, we are born here into Malchut. Into a reality that expects nothing but challenge from us. We were given birth to in pain, and we live life in challenge. And remember the old verses from Genesis. Bezeyat apecha tochal lechem. To Eve you will give birth in pain. Giving birth to life will require challenge and your blood, sweat, and tears. And to Adam was said, "Bezeyat apecha tochal lechem." By the sweat of your brow, you will eat bread. That was a prophecy and prediction from the beginning. Kim, can we put up quickly the fourth little thing? I just want to show you, our name is in the Torah and throughout Tanakh is Yisrael. Yisrael means the victors of God. Okay, that's the nice outcome. Actually, that's a little bit of a prophecy, but you know what we are called by the prophet Jeremiah? We are not called Yisrael, we are called Yisrael from the three words Zerah. Hazorim, look at the top. Look at the first word on top, Hazorim, Zion, Resh Ayin. And the bottom is Yisrael. Yisrael means sowers of God. Okay, Kim, let me see the faces again. You know what it means to be sowers? Hazorim bedima, to sow with tears. It means that spiritually, physically, on all levels, we must reconcile ourselves. We must welcome constant challenge, the challenges of life that come to us, that we view them not as the enemy. The challenges of life are not our enemy. They are not the things that reduce and diminish our joy and our leisure and that get in our way. The challenges of life are actually the seeds of life. From which we are meant to grow. And this expression from the Psalms is Hazorim bedima. If we reconcile ourselves that we are sowers, our entire raison d'etre from the beginning of our lives to the end of our lives is to manage and deal in the holiest, in the godliest, in the most joyful way the challenges that come our way in life. Hazorim bedima, those that are able to sow the seeds of life, even through tears, even through heartache. Those are going to be the ones, Birina Yiktzoru. Those are going to be the ones who are actually going to reap in exaltation at the end. If you take on the challenge with joy. Not with I gewalt, I gotta deal with this. No, I have to deal with this. I'm going to deal with it. You will create a type of human being, a type of self, where your time of harvest will come in the end. You will attain a kind of nachas from life that will have no regrets, no misgivings. Because when you constantly are up to the challenge, then what you are basically doing is you are constantly deriving and shepping nachas from your victory of the challenge. This is true of an individual life, and it is true of a national life. And I wanted to get to the nationalistic level, because Tisha B'Av Tisha B'Av's whole story is about Hazorim B'dima, those you people, you Jewish people, over the centuries, you who have sowed with tears, sowed with sweat and your blood and all of your energies. Tisha B'Av has two aspects. The first aspect is it is a reminder how far we have come, because we are forced on this day to look back into history. On Tisha B'Av, we look back at what kind of sowing our ancestors sowed before we came on the scene. What kind of blood, sweat, and tears that went into keeping the model of Jerusalem and the model of the sovereignty of the land of Israel alive. What it took those 26 centuries of our ancestors, what kind of effort went into that? Tisha B'Av is a day when we actually look back how far we've come from Ha'ir HaShomema, from the way Eicha described Jerusalem, how far we've come from that desolate city, Shu'alim Hilchu Ba, where foxes and rats were freely walking in the holy and sacred places. And that Shomema, that desolation, lasted for 2,000 years. And we look back on the day of Tisha B'Av, we extend ourselves back into history, and we realize how far we've come. And again, how fortunate we are to be the first generation, or first, depending on your age, you're either the first generation or you're the second generation to see and to taste and to experience the Berina Yiktsoru. We are the generation that had the first opportunity to experience and to see with our own eyes the utter ecstasy of the historical harvest. We are eating the harvest of 26,000 years of longing. We're the first ones to taste the produce of the harvest. And that harvest is called the modern state of Israel and the unified holy city of Jerusalem. And so today, let's mark it. Wow, a gewalt, how far we have come and how fortunate we are. And this I'm going to end with, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a response to Moshe. However, there's a second aspect to Tisha B'Av, not only going back in time and realizing and being aware. There's a second sentiment and teaching that a good Tisha B'Av offers us. And that is, we are born to work. We are born to labor. And we are destined to see a shtickle of our harvest, which we have seen. But you know what? Another sobering idea. Tisha B'Av's full of sober. Another sobering idea is that one cycle of harvest always leads to another cycle of sowing. It doesn't end with the harvest. It's not as if we sow and then we harvest and then the harvest is the end of the story, is it? In life. Is it? It isn't. As soon as we harvest, it necessarily means that is going to be the beginning of another cycle of sowing, of working. It's a never-ending cycle, the psalmist is saying. Sowing, harvesting leads back to sowing. The cycle of Uvenei Yerushalayim, let Jerusalem be built. The rebuilding of Jerusalem is not a singular event. It's rather a continuous process. Just like our lives. Our lives, we don't have a single event of sowing and then harvesting. It is a continuous, never-ending process of sowing, harvesting, growing, and that growing and harvesting, that whole process, that whole cycle takes place, must take place, will take place, until we take our last breath. There is no retiring from life. Adam le'amal yulad. We were meant to go on and on and on until the end. Most of the older, more experienced retirees have in conversations over the years have taught me that. You never can retire from life. I don't. You might have less hours at a job, responsibilities, but the elders of our community have taught me that, you know what, I thought I was going to be like retirement means like retirement. I thought I was going to be retired. And you have all told me and taught me not. Life is life. Challenges come up all of the time. We cannot retire from life. And when we say that when we talk about the rebuilding of Jerusalem, we are not talking about an event. We are talking about a rebuilding. We are talking about a continuous process. So yes, on this Tisha B'Av, on 2022, you know what, we look back and we can say, you know what, since the destruction of the temple in 70 CE, and for 26 centuries, we have taka come a long way. But you know what, Moshe? There's a long way yet to go. When I talk to you from the city of Jerusalem, I am in celebration of what a long way we have come, and I am also extremely cognizant that we are not there yet. We are not there yet. Yerushalayim habnuya, the absolutely, totally built up, perfected Jerusalem, I am not living in today. Because there is a process still yet to come. There are many sowings, there are many harvests that have to be harvested in our beautiful, lovely state of Israel, that still yet it is coming down the pike. And if I can spend just one more minute, the security of Israel is not complete, not by a long shot. When we talk about the modern state of Israel and how fantastic it is, I have to tell you, but the security of Israel is not intact. I was woken up this morning at 7 o'clock in the morning by a tremendous boom. I didn't know what it was. I later found out it was a boom of an IDF defense system knocking out a Palestinian Islamic jihadist rocket aimed at the outskirts of the old city. The news might not have yet met, you might not be aware of it, but there are skirmishes that are very, very scary happening in Gaza. And we hope that it's not going to, escalate. But the security of Israel is not a given, not by a long shot. There's still much work to do in Israel, and this is on the part of Israelis and the part of the Jews. There's much work to do in our social, in our economic, in our spiritual, in our moral, in the moral fabric, including how the treatment of Palestinians, how much attention that still requires, how much more refinement and sophistication we have to build up within our own souls, within our own modes of behavior, within our own culture. How much improvement in the building of what we call Jerusalem. We have done, friends, we have done very well. We have done very well. But my point is, many more harvests are going to be needed, and many more seedings and sowings have to be done until we get to the point of where we can say Yerushalayim Habnuya, the rebuilt Jerusalem, the idea of Jerusalem being an Or LaGoyim, being a beacon of light unto the nations. We have a ways to go until we can claim that. So that's the second aspect of Tisha B'Av, that we not only compel our awareness to go back in history and realize how far we've come, but we also humbly and very soberly recognize that we've come a long way, baby, but there is still yet quite a bit of refinement and sophistication that is in our hands to complete and to finish the job. And I'm sorry I went over. I don't even know how long I went over. But I hope we got a sense out of Tisha B'Av, and I hope I was able to bring a little Jerusalem into your homes.
We'll end with the your last note, Rabbi.
We'll end with my last song. Okay?
Yeah.
It's not it's a nigun that you all know. Da la da la da. Ti da la da la da la. Da la da la da. Da la da la da la da la. La 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 da 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 la 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 da Allah
Thank